On the afternoon of the second day, she went out to do an errand and give poor Joanna, the invalid doll, her daily exercise as she came up the street. On her return, she saw three, yes, four heads popping in and out of the parlor windows. And the moment they saw her, I think I need this one. The moment they saw her, several hands were waved and several joyful voices screamed, "Here is a letter from the old gentleman. Come quickly and read it." "Oh, Beth, he sent you," began Amy, just gesticulating with unseemly energy, but she got no further, for Joe quenched her by slamming down the window. Beth hurried on in a flutter of suspense. At the door, her sisters seized and bore her to the parlor in a triumphal precision, all pointing and all saying at once, "Look there, look there." Beth did look, and turned pale with delight and surprise, for there stood a little cabinet piano with a letter lying on the glossy lid, directed like a signboard, "To Miss Elizabeth March." "For me?" gasped Beth, holding into Joe and feeling as if she should tumble down. It was such an overwhelming thing altogether. "Yes, all for you, my precious. Isn't it splendid of him? Don't you think he's the dearest old man in the world? Here is the key in the letter. We didn't open it, but we are dying to know what he says," cried Joe, hugging her sister and offering the note. "You'll read it. I can't. I feel so peculiar. Oh, it is too lovely." And Beth hid her face in Joe's apron, quite upset by her present. Joe opened the paper and began to laugh, for the first words she saw were, "Miss March, dear madam." "How nice it sounds. I wish someone would write to me so," said Amy, who thought the old-fashioned address very elegant. "I have had many pairs of slippers in my life, but I never had any that suited me so well as yours," continued Joe. "Heart's ease is my favourite flower, and these will always remind me of the gentle giver. I like to pay my debts, so I know you will allow the old gentleman to send you something which once belonged to the little granddaughter he lost. With hearty thanks and best wishes, I remain your grateful friend and humble servant, James Lawrence." There, Beth, that's an honour to be proud of. I'm sure Laurie told me how fond Mr. Lawrence used to be of the child who died, and how he kept all her little things carefully. Just think, he is giving you her piano. That comes of having big blue eyes and loving music," said Joe, trying to soothe Beth, who trembled and looked more excited than she had ever been before. "See the cunning brackets to hold candles, and the nice green silk packed up with a gold rose in the middle, and the pretty rack and stool. All complete," added Meg, opening the instrument and displaying its beauties. "Your humble servant, James Lawrence. Only think of his writing that to you. I'll tell the girls. They'll think it's splendid," said Amy, much impressed by the note. "Try it, Honey, let's hear the sound of the baby piano, said Hannah, who always took a share in the family joys and sorrows. So Beth tried it, and everyone pronounced it the most remarkable piano ever heard. It had evidently been newly tuned and put in a apple pie order, but perfect as it was. I think the real charm of it lay in the happiest of all happy faces which leaned over it as Beth lovingly touched the beautiful black and white keys and pressed the bright pedals. You'll have to go and thank him, said Joe, by, by way of a joke, for the idea the child's really going never entered her head. Yes, I mean to. I guess I'll go now, before I get frightened thinking about it. And to the utter amazement of this assembled family, Beth walked deliberately down the garden, through the hedge, and in at the Lawrences' door. Well, I wish I may die if it ain't the strangest thing I've ever seen. The piano has turned her head. She'd never have gone in her right mind, cried Hannah, staring after her, while the girls were rendered quite speechless by the miracle. They would have been still more amazed if they had seen what Beth did afterward. If you will believe me, she went and knocked at the study door before she gave herself time to think, and when a gruff voice called out, "Come in," she did go in, right up to Mr. Lawrence, who looked quite taken aback, and held out her hand, saying with only a small quiver in her voice, "I came to thank you, sir, for—" But she didn't finish, for he looked so friendly that she forgot her speech, and only remembering that he had lost the little girl he loved, she put both arms around his neck and kissed him. If the roof of the house had suddenly flown off, the old gentleman wouldn't have been more astonished, but he liked it. Oh dear, yes, he liked it amazingly, and was so touched and pleased by that confident little kiss that all his crustiness vanished, and he just set her on his knee and laid his wrinkled cheek against her rosy one, feeling as if he had got his own little granddaughter back again. Beth ceased to fear him from that moment, and sat there talking to him as cosily as if she had known him all her life, for love casts out fear, and gratitude can conquer pride. When she went home, he walked with her to her own gate, shook hands cordially, I think so, and touched his hat as he marched back again, looking very stately and erect, like a handsome, solidly, soldiery old gentleman as he was. When the girls saw that performance, Jo began to dance a jig by way of expressing her satisfaction. Amy nearly fell out of the window in her surprise, and Meg exclaimed with uplifted hands, "Well, I do believe the world is coming to an end." Let me see. 9 minutes. Chapter 7. Amy's Valley of Humiliation. That boy is a perfect cyclops, isn't he? Said Amy one day, as Laurie clattered by on horseback with a flourish of his whip as he passed. "How dare you say so, when he's got both his eyes? and very handsome ones they are, too, cried Jo, who resented any slighting remarks about her friends. I didn't say anything about his eyes, and I don't see why you need fire up when I admire his riding. Oh my goodness, that little goose means as censure. Okay, I think it's censure, and she called him a cyclops, exclaimed Jo with a burst of laughter. You needn't be so rude. It's only a lapse of lengy, as Mr. Davis says, retorted Amy, finishing Jo with her Latin. I just wish I had a little of the money Laurie spends on that horse, she added, as if to herself, yet hoping her sisters would hear. Why? Asked Meg kindly, for Jo had gone off in another laugh at Amy's second blunder. I need it so much. I'm dreadfully in debt, and it won't be my turn to have the rag money for a month. In debt? Amy, what do you mean? And Meg looked sober. Why, I owe at least a dozen pickled lions, and I can't pay them, till I have money. For Mommy forbade my having anything charged at the shop. Tell me about him. Are limes the fashion now? It used to be pricking bits of rubber to make balls, and Meg tried to keep her countenance. Amy looked so grave and important. I think I need a word. Maybe this one. Highlight it, copy it. Why, you see, the girls are always buying them, and unless you want to be thought mean, you must do it too. It is nothing but limes now, for everyone is sucking them in their desks in school time and trading them off for pencils, bead rings, paper dolls, or something else as at recess. If one girl likes another, she gives her a lime. If she's mad with her, she eats one before her face, and don't offer even a suck. They treat by turns, and I've had ever so many, but haven't returned them, and I ought, for they are debts for honor, How much will pay them off and restore your credit? Asked Meg, taking out her purse. A quarter would more than do it, and leave a few cents over for a treat for you. Didn't you like limes? Not much. You may have my share. Here is the money. Make it last as long as you can, for it isn't very plenty, Oh, thank you. It must be so nice to have pocket money. I'll have a grand feast, for I haven't tasted a lime this week. I felt delicate about taking any, as I couldn't return them, and I'm actually suffering for one. Next day, Amy was rather late at school, but could not resist the temptation of displaying with pardonable pride. Okay, this one, I need this word. Pride, a moist brown paper parcel before she consigned it to the inmost recesses of her desk. During the next few minutes, the rumor that Amy March had got 24 delicious limes, she ate one on the way, and was going to treat, circulated through her set. Let me see. Wow. All right. And the attentions of her friends became quite overwhelming. Katie Brown invited her to her next party on the spot. Mary Kingsley insisted on lending her her watch till recess, and Jenny Snow, a satirical young lady who had basely tweeted Amy upon her limeless state, promptly buried the hatchet and offered to furnish, furnish answers to certain appalling sums. Let me see this word, highlight it and copy it then. But Amy had not forgotten Miss Snow's cutting remarks about some persons whose noses were not too flat to smell other people's limes, and stuck-up people who were not too proud to ask for them, and she instantly crushed that Snow girl's hopes by the withering telegram. You needn't be so polite all of a sudden, for you won't get any. A distinguished personage happened to visit the school that morning, and Amy's beautifully drawn maps received praise which honor to her for, ranked in the soul of Miss Snow. Highlight this one, have it then. I think of faux. And caused Miss March to assume the airs of a studious young peacock. But alas, pride goes before a fall, and the revengeful Snow turned the tables with disastrous success. No sooner had the guest paid the usual stale compliments and bowed himself out, then Jenny, under pretence of asking an important question, informed Mr. Davis, the teacher, that Amy March had pickled limes in her desk. Now, Mr. Davis had declared limes a contraband article, and solemnly. Well, I think I need to highlight this one. Vowed to publicly furial the first person who was found breaking the law. This one is a bit weird. This much enduring man had succeeded in banishing chewing gum after a long and stormy war, and had made a bonfire of the confiscated novels and newspapers, had suppressed a private post office, had forbidden distortions of the face, nicknames, and caricatures, and done all that one man could do to keep 100 rebellious girls in order. Boys are trying enough to human patience. Alright, I think I might need this one too. Goodness knows, but girls are infinitely more so, especially to nervous gentlemen with tyrannical tempers, and no more talent for teaching than Dr. Blumber. Mr. Davis knew any quantity of Greek, Latin, algebra, and ologies of all sorts. So he was called a fine teacher, and manners, morals, feelings, and examples were not considered of any particular importance. It was a most unfortunate moment for denouncing Amy, and Jenny knew it. Mr. Davis had evidently taken his coffee too strong that morning. There was an east wind which always affected his neurologia, and his pupils had not done him the credit which he felt he deserved. Therefore, to use the expressive, if not elegant, language of a schoolgirl, he was he was as nervous as a witch and as cross as a bear. The word Liams was like fire to powder. His yellow face flushed and rapped on his desk with an angry which made Jenny skip to her unusual rapidity. Young ladies, attention, if you please. At the stern order, the buzz ceased, and 50 pairs of blue, black, grey, and brown eyes were obediently fixed upon his oval countenance. Miss March, come to the desk. Amy rose to comply with outward composure, but a secret fear oppressed her, for the lions weighed upon her conscience. Conscience? Yeah, conscience. Bring with you the limes you have in your desk, was the unexpected command which arrested her before she got out of her seat. Don't take all, whispered her neighbour, a young lady of great presence of mind. Amy hastily shook out half a dozen and laid the rest down before Mr. Davis, feeling that any man possessing a human heart would relent when that delicious perfume met his nose. Unfortunately, Mr. Davis particularly detested the odor of the fashionable pickle, and disgust added to his wrath. Is that all? Not quite, stammered Amy. Bring the rest immediately. With a despairing glance at her set, she obeyed. You are sure there are no more? I never lie, sir. So I see. Now take these disgusting things to buy to and throw them out of the window. There was a simultaneous sigh, which created quite a little gust, as the last hope fled, and the treat was ravished from their longing lips. Scarlet with shame and anger, Amy went to an and fro 12 mortal times, and as each doomed couple looking so plump and juicy fell from her reluctant hands, a shout from the street completed the anguish of the girls, for it told them that their feast was being exulted over by the little Irish children, who were their sworn foes. This was too much. All flashed indignant or appealing glances at the inexorable Davis, and one passionate lime lover burst into tears. As Amy returned from her last trip, Mr. Davis gave a portionance hem, and said in his most impressive manner, Young ladies, you remember what I said to you a week ago. I am sorry this has happened, but I never allow my rules to be infringed, and I never break my word. Miss March, hold out your hand. Amy started and put both hands behind her, turning on him an imploring look which pleaded for her better than the words she could not utter. She was rather a favourite with old Davis, as of course he was called, and it is my private belief that he would have broken his word if the indignation of one irrepressible young lady had not found vent in her hiss. That hiss, faint as it was, irritated the irascible. I like this one and this one. gentleman and sealed the culprit's fate. Wow, another one. Your hand, Miss March, was the only answer her mute appeal received, and too proud to cry or beseech, Amy set her teeth, threw back her head defiantly, and bore with flinching several tingling blows on her little palm. They were neither many nor heavy, but that made no difference to her. For the first time in her life she had been struck, and the disgrace in her eyes was as deep as if he had knocked her down. You will now stand on the platform till recess, said Mr. Davis, resolved to do the thing thoroughly, since he had begun. That was dreadful. It would have been bad enough to go to her seat and see the pitying faces of her friends or the satisfied ones of her few enemies, but to face the whole school with that shame fresh upon her seemed impossible, and for a second she felt as if she could only drop down where she stood and break her heart with crying. A bitter sense of wrong and the thought of Jenny Snow helped her to bear it, and taking the ignominious place, I don't know, highlight it, have it then. She fixed her eyes on the smooth funnel above what now seemed a sea of faces, and stood there, so motionless and white that the girls found it very hard to study, with that pathetic figure before them. During the 15 minutes that followed, the proud and sensitive little girl suffered a shame and pain which she never forgot. To others it might seem a ludicrous or trifle affair, but to her it was a hard experience, for during the 12 years of her life she had been governed by love alone, and a blow of that sort had never touched her before. The smart of her hand and the ache of her heart were forgotten in the sting of the thought, I shall have to tell at home, and they will be so disappointed in me. The 15 minutes seemed an hour, but they came to an end at last, and the word recess had never seemed so welcome to her before. Let me see. You can go, Miss March, said Mr. Davis, looking as he felt uncomfortable. He did not soon forget the reproachful, what is this word, glance Amy gave him. Let me highlight it then. As she went, without a word to anyone, straight into the anteroom, snatched her things, and left the place forever. As she patiently declared to herself, she was in a sad state when she got home, and when the older girls arrived some time later, an indignation meeting was held at once. Mrs. March did not say much, but looked disturbed, and comforted her afflicted little daughter in her tenderest manner. Meg bathed the insulted hand with glycerine and tears. Beth felt that even her beloved kittens would fail as a balm for griefs like this. Jo wrathfully proposed that Mr. Davis be arrested without delay, and Hannah shook her fist at the villain and pounded potatoes for dinner as if she had him under her pistol. No notice was taken of Amy's flight, accepted by her mates, but the sharp-eyed demoiselles discovered that Mr. Davis was quite benignant in the afternoon, also unusually nervous. Just before school closed, Jo appeared wearing a grim expression as she talked up to the desk and delivered a letter from her mother, then collected Amy's property and departed, carefully scrubbing the mud from her boots on the doormat as if she shook the dust off the place of her feet. Yes, you can have a vacation from school, but I want you to study a little very day with Beth, said Mrs. March that evening. I don't approve of corporal punishment, especially for girls. I dislike Mr. Davis's manner of teaching and don't think the girls you associate with are doing you any good. So I shall ask your father's advice before I send you anywhere else. That's good. I wish all the girls would leave and spoil his old school. It's perfectly maddening to think of those lovely limes, sighed Amy with the air of a martyr. I think it's martyr. More likely to matter. I'm not sorry you lost them, for you broke the rules and deserved some punishment for disobedience, was the severe reply, which rather disappointed the young lady, who expected nothing but sympathy. Do you mean you are glad I was disgraced?